Hello there. You're watching a NAPTIP On The Move, and I'm Angela Agbegi. Our focus today is a topical one. In fact, it's a global concern. Can you guess? Well, I'll let the cat out of the bag. It's on the use of technology, and our feature will tell you more. Stay with NAPTIP On The Move.
Technology has aided civilization in many ways. Improved communication, transportation, education, healthcare, trade, and indeed all facets of life. Sadly, this also applies in negative vices, as technology has been abused and used by human traffickers to lure victims.
In the past, human traffickers go from house to house, meeting parents. Give me your daughter, give me your son, I want to train him, I want to help him. They move. We are getting to the Ember Month. We have already entered the Ember Month. In the past, this is season. They come from wherever they are, they look flamboyant, they dress well, they look gorgeous. They look like a specimen of how you want your daughter to be. They say, since I travel, see how my life has gone. They go to parents. You see mothers willingly pushing their daughters. And when they are picking them from the villages, they travel in the same vehicle with them. And what we were seeing those days was somebody standing and talking for about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 boys or girls that have been trafficked. You go to a bus stop or pin down, you say, no, they are my children. You want to talk to the children, you say, no, talk to me. So those are the typologies we used to see. But now, with the era of technology and the abuse of it, you don't see again. You don't get to see exploiters moving in the same vehicle with them. Exploiter can be in Ghana with telephone. You take you from my village, Kogi, and they say, then you get to Abuja. Call this number. The person gets to Abuja, calls the number, the person will come up. Put the person in another vehicle and say, when you get to Kano, call this number. People no longer move with the victims. So we have to be 3, 4 steps ahead of them to know that, oh, we're not going to see these people like we used to see them before. And because we are up to date and we are going several steps ahead of them, that's how we're able to get them.
The social media is a common venue as traffickers use these platforms to recruit victims.
There are emerging technologies, emerging crimes, which is actually the cyber crime, and it's a big global problem that we have today. Even other agencies, sister agencies, I know how we have talked about that, we have had cases, but for NAPTIP, we cannot be left behind without being dynamic in our investigation. So as the criminals are becoming wiser and becoming technologically savvy in recruiting their victims, so is NAPTIP also building the capacity of its own officers in actually handling these cases of trafficking in persons and also violence against persons. So you can see someone can just stay, a suspect or a criminal will just stay in his house somewhere in another part of the world over the shores and use his own just a single smartphone, just as small as a normal smartphone, and then begin to recruit, send messages either via email, or there are some apps, that hidden apps on our system that even these criminals use. It's only their own network or their own cells that know and they target some particular group of victims to actually recruit them. There are ones that are even open on our basic social media handles, such as the Facebook that we have, the WhatsApp, the Snapchat, and all kinds of basic ones that are being used to actually help us. And at the same time, these social media handles are also used to perpetrate crime by suspected persons.
Dating websites are also used by traffickers to lure unsuspecting victims.
In most cases, they also use dating websites, which normally they call dating platforms, where you see young ladies putting their pictures, and at times you have their videos, their age, all sorts of information about themselves are being posted on this website in the name of looking for a man. The traffickers use this avenue to lure them and traffic them. In most cases, we have realized that they end up being sexually exploited. During transportation stage, traffickers also use technology to monitor their movement with what we call GPS. They usually give the victims a phone, not knowing or knowingly to the victims that the GPS has been activated. So as they are moving along, they are being monitored from a remote area, and they can as well communicate with them.
In recent times, most human trafficking cases, both internal and external trafficking, being investigated by NAPTIP are via online recruitment.
In the course of investigation, when arrests are made, we have discovered the profound use of technology now to traffic Nigerian victims. We have found out of recent that some girls as young as 13, they were recruited online. Bogus promises. A 13-year-old girl, 13, 14, 15, older 16, that they are going to give them jobs in a particular part of the country to work in a restaurant for 150,000 naira per month. And they fell for it. Deceived them and took them to the place. When they got to the place, they were kept in a brothel where they were given 30 condoms daily to do sex work for them. 1,000 naira per round of sex. And they give them 30 condoms daily. And these bad people have no respect for the biological clock of these girls. We have some of them with bodily injuries, attesting to the fact that they couldn't make the use of the condoms. They were beaten and stabbed. And the worst part is introducing drugs to these youngsters. Because at times, how do you sleep with 30 men a day? Daily. How are you going to do that? Who does that with free mind? Again, technology has been used also to deceive Nigerian students, especially the young men and women, for scholarship abroad. They will send an advert, place an advert in on online medium, and they will fall for it. They get to that destination, there is no school, no university, no scholarship as is promised. There they are kept in a place and they are sexually exploited. Again, technology has been used to recruit Nigerian girls also for pornography. But it will not come as pornography initially. They say they want them to go and do beauty pageant. They target very fine girls, they target them. And they, the glamour of beauty pageant, miss this, miss that. So they fall for it. They get to the place where they are supposed to do all the preliminaries. And when they get there, they discover they can't live again. Again, what was used? Wrong use of technology. And then they are kept there and sexual exploitation. Several complaints we are dealing with has to do with people who are exploited by the negative use of technology.
Sextortion and killing are some of the emerging cybercrimes.
What is even threatening is this sextortion, where a girl will be approached on the Facebook or Instagram or anywhere. They target really beautiful girls. And then they cultivate them. They spend small money on them, cultivate them really and get them to losing their guards. Then, at their vulnerable moment, They drug them at times, or most of the time, and then they'll take a video of them, their nude state. And then, after a point, financial blackmail starts. If you don't drop 100,000, I'll post it. And at times they did. We're dealing with a case of a girl of just barely 22, 23, who fell in love with somebody, supposedly, and the guy now took several nudes of her. And after a short, just within 6 months, the guy started the real reason why he came for her. Bring 150 today, if not, I'll post it. She looked for it and brought it. Bring 200,000. When it became too much, she started contemplating suicide. Luckily for her, NAPTIP got to know about it on time. And our DG flagged up the operation, directed us to do the needful. It took weeks, if not months, to track this guy because his internet survey. But eventually we got him, and he's serving his time very soon in court.
What we have noticed apart from sexual exploitation is the fact that young Nigerian boys are lured and recruited to Ghana, of course, through the land borders, and when they arrive Ghana, in most cases, Accra and Kumasi, they are locked up in rooms, provided with laptops and telephones, and then they are trained into cybercrime, and they are actually forced into this cybercrime scenario where they lure people and get their money, and this money are for the masters. And so it is a new trend that we refer to, that is referred to as Q-Link.
Current statistics by NAPTIP reveals an increase in external trafficking.
Use of technology has increased the rate of external trafficking. As at the end of June this year, the data that we have at our disposal in the agency revealed that internal trafficking has reduced to 60%, while external trafficking has gone as high as 40%. The role of research and program development in the use of technology as in countering the activities of traffickers. Once we identify that an area or community is endemic of trafficking, ours is to advise on which arm of the agency, and most especially it is a public enlightenment department.
Realizing these current and emerging trends, NAPTIP is consistently intensifying efforts to enhance its operations and ensure that perpetrators are brought to book.
We came up with partnership with organizations like the Facebook. We have also an organization called National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. This organization mainly deals with issues of sextortion and exploitation of children. When I mean children below 18 years. So far, Nigeria has received over 70,000 cases within the last 1 year of sextortions of minors on the database. We have access to thousands of information on this database to actually see what is happening in Nigeria. So that organization is a non-profit organization in the US, but the US law mandates every telecom or every electronic service provider, we call them the ASPs, to actually report any case of either cyberbullying or any pornographic material that has been sent to anybody's account across the world, as far as it is being generated from the US companies. And most of the social media and organizations are US companies. Facebook is a US company. We have Twitter, we have Snapchat, we have WhatsApp, we have Instagram. And as that, we also have an MOU with them, so we have access to that database, so we see. So that helps us actually in our investigation, and especially when it comes to the investigation of issues of pornographic, sharing of pornographic materials, that's CSM materials online. And we have several cases that people are recruited on the social media handles. They post for fantastic jobs, for fantastic opportunities, especially now that the post-COVID era, there are a lot of vulnerable people that actually they feel there's no other, that we can't do anything here. It's only when you go outside Nigeria. But it's a different world altogether over there. You might think it's rosy, but it's not. So, and people they target this vulnerable community. You can see even aged people that are up to 50 years because of this desperation. I want to leave Nigeria, and they become victims. We have more of children and girls being exploited. That is why even the Director General, in our own wisdom, was able to come up with what we call the cyber tax team in the agency now. They're supposed to actually analyze all this information coming from different social media handles, from different organizations, from different tools that we have. And is a new team, and there are a lot of trainings that have been going. We had training which was sponsored by UNODC, and most of the facilitators came from the Interpol. So Interpol actually supported in giving us training, and it was fantastic because we looked at real life scenario cases that actually Interpol have actually carried out, and even the partnership with the Interpol. There are cases actually that we have also done together with the Interpol, with even the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the field office here in Nigeria. We've had cases of sextortion that it's going on, which has even led to murder. We have done that. So we have so many cases that have done that, and there's a training also we have with NICMEC, which is a partnership, and especially with the International Justice Mission is actually funding that training on the use of case management system.
For the general public, social media should be used with caution.
Parents should always watch the sites that their children visit. If possible, their phones, some websites can be restricted so that they don't even have any access to such, because going to dating platforms is very trickish. They wouldn't know what they are going into until at the end of the day the child or the victims is being sexually harassed or exploited. Not only sexually exploited, it could even be labor.
I tell Nigerian youngsters, be careful what you do on the internet. Be careful the pictures you post and send to people. Be careful who you expose yourself to. But Nigerians must be aware that technology can be abused, and of course they are abusing it. When you see adverts, free scholarship, they want to sponsor you abroad, they want to take you for educational excursion, be careful. Absentee parents, absentee fathers and mothers, careless parents, parenting should be taken more seriously.
Technology has indeed come to stay, and NAPTIP is deploying technology to counter the antics of human traffickers. However, you can play your part too. Don't believe all you see on social media. Do your research, make inquiries, call NAPTIP to avoid being a victim of human trafficking.
Indeed, caution is the watchword, and a word is enough for the wise. It's time to bring you some of the recent activities of NAPTIP. Stay tuned. Officials from the United States Embassy, led by Jason Courier, paid a courtesy visit to the Director General of NAPTIP, Dr. Fatima Waziri Azi. Receiving the team, the Director General of NAPTIP highlighted some of the recent projects of the agency, including the inauguration of the Anti-Human Trafficking and SGBV Vanguards in Federal Government Unity Schools, and boot camp for members of state task forces on human trafficking. She also explained the purpose of the Trafficking in Persons Control of Activities of Organization and Centers, Regulation 2019. She then thanked the U.S. Embassy for its support to the agency. Jason Courier and his team commended Dr. Waziri Azi for her commitment and achievements made so far, as well as reiterated the support of the embassy. A Kano State High Court has sentenced a 41-year-old man, Osaze Ozieva, to 1 year imprisonment for attempting to procure the illegal entry of 4 people aged 21, 22, 26 and 29 years respectively to Libya through Niger Republic. This brings the total number of convictions by NAPTIP to 38 and counting for 2022. An official of the BKA from the German government, Dr. Jan Ritterhoff, the BKA liaison officer, donated forensic equipment to NAPTIP. Receiving the equipment, the Director General of NAPTIP, Dr. Fatima Waziri Azi, expressed appreciation to the German government. The forensic equipment will enhance the operations of the agency. In attendance were directors of NAPTIP. The Director General of NAPTIP, Dr. Fatima Waziri Azi, recently received a team from the Network Against Child Trafficking, Abuse and Labor, NACTEL. The team was led by the National President, Abdul Ganiyu Abubakar.
I want to say that we appreciate all you have done so far, and then of course the institutional development we have seen around not just the NAPTIP headquarters but also the zonal commands. When the regulation 2019 came, and then some of our members got to look at the portal, a lot of issues were raised and discussions on our national platform. We have 6 national platforms for the executives, the board, the state coordinators, the zonal coordinators, and then the national platform, which has all the registered members of NACTEL. Our members, of course, commended your effort for coming up with such a good initiative, and also align with your vision of ensuring that all those who are working in this space are people who come with very clean hands. However, there are a few observations from our members which we have also discussed at our different platforms and decided to bring to your very humble attention.
He also spoke about issues raised by members of NACTEL regarding Regulation 2019. Welcoming the NACTEL members, the Director General addressed some of the issues raised and reiterated the purpose of Regulation 2019.
So this regulation is in place to help everyone. It's for the benefit of everyone. It will protect all of us. So when we talk of human trafficking, it's not just criminals that receive people and exploit. All these organizations too are also part of the value chain. And most of these crimes of trafficking people for something else are perpetrated by travel agents, labor recruiters, tour operators, even people that operate shelters and operate centers, and even NGOs. So it's a national crisis.
The Network Against Child Trafficking, Abuse and Labor has been partnering with NAPTIP in the fight against human trafficking in Nigeria.
Your attention, please.
Are you a travel agent? Or do you plan to travel abroad for work, school, professional sports activities or school excursion? Are you worried about incessant reports of human trafficking and unjust practices? NAPTIP is here to help. The Standard Operating Procedure for International Recruitment, recently launched by the federal government and relevant agencies, and NAPTIP's Regulation 2019 ensures that proper vetting is conducted and a clearance certificate issued by NAPTIP, so that your mind is at rest when you travel. Avoid irregular migration and falling victim of human trafficking. Regular and safe migration is possible. For more information, log on to tipclearance.naptip.gov.ng. This message is brought to you by NAPTIP with support from the International Organization for Migration.
The Victim Story segment is up next. It's still NAPTIP on the move.
When I was learning work in Delta State, so my father friend said that there's work in outside country. So my dad now came to me one day that I should stop my work. They now arranged the transport for me to travel out. They said I should go and meet somebody in the outside country that is called Algeria. So I was ready, and I said I cannot go without telling my mother. So my dad said I should just go like that. Then I went there. I passed a lot of stress in the road, suffering. They didn't even give me money for feeding, pass through desert. I got there now. The woman said that I'm holding out a lot of money. That is 700 dinar, and it's 1.30 million in Nigerian money, which I do not understand. She deceived me the first time that it was baking work that I want to go and do there. But when I got there, it was prostitute. So she said I must do it. So I said I can't do it. I was crying every day. So she said she will send me out to her friend. So I'll be working at her friend's house. They'll be sharing the money. So she sent me out. Then a friend now saw me that I'm too young for this job, that she should return me. She said no. So some gentlemen are involved in my matter, and they said no, they must return this girl to Nigeria. The woman that she sold me to, his son now sent me back to Nigeria. I connect with through NAPTIP, but she did not know that I'm in Nigeria. She thought I'm still there. The woman that she sent me to go and meet, she arrested the woman and destroyed her property. When I got to NAPTIP, they had to rescue me, and they are working on my case.
For more inquiries and support, or to report cases of suspected human trafficking, violence against persons, and child abuse, please call NAPTIP hotline 0703 0000203 or the short code 627, or email us info@naptip.gov.ng. Visit our website www.naptip.gov.ng. Follow us on our social media platforms at NAPTIP Nigeria, or watch our videos on YouTube.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of NAPTIP On The Move. Do keep a date with us same time next week. I'm Angela Agbegi. Goodbye.